There was this comment from last episode that is probably the funniest comment I've seen this year. So the comment says, Zero reminds me of a dad. He doesn't know a lot of popular things, but knows some more obscure things. But instead of Mexican telenovela, it's Guilty Gear and 40K. I can't even deny it. Look, man, I've just missed out on so many things that you guys know of, that me learning about these things is just sort of catching up, and I only know what I know. I'm just gonna say that. That being said, I am honored to be considered like somewhat like a dad. Does this mean that I have the ability to now do dad jokes and it not being cringe? But anyways, you guys know the drill. Go and support my man Pier. Link to that is at the very top of the description, like always.
The minor circuit teaches you how to play. The major circuit teaches you how to apply that knowledge in a way that will lead to your victory. But with the world circuit, there's nothing left to teach. There are still patterns to learn and weaknesses to find, yes, but now fights are truly difficult in a way that not only tests your strategy, but your finger speed, endurance, and tenacity as well. With 6 full fights and no save point in between, you're gonna become very familiar with the boxers ahead. Now given, 3 of these opponents you've already faced before, but 2 of them are circuit champions back for revenge, and one's the most annoying.
Okay. I was like, yeah, that's right. We are using the same sprites for them, but honestly, I can't be mad considering the memory capacity of the old cartridges, right? And that was an interesting fact that you guys told me about, because I was curious about like the password that they gave you at the end of the first part. Apparently that's sort of like a cheat code, quote unquote, that you use in order to get to a certain point in the game, because they couldn't have save files like that, like we do nowadays.
Little hanger-on imaginable, and they not only hit harder and take more punishment, but have new tricks up their lack of sleeves.
Good, yeah.
Piston Honda, for example, tries to fake you out with this wiggling uppercut that comes out at an odd time.
They do have different moves.
Bald Bull usually gets up on the 9 count, determined to wreck your hopes of a swift victory. Even Don Flamenco, who might seem like the most unassuming rematch possible, will actually attack you with a hook and a jab, making him a far more well-rounded fighter who can win by knocking you out just as easily as his ironclad defense can win by decision. The World Circuit ends up feeling like a greatest hits version of the game, reviewing what you've learned previously and asking for absolute mastery of its concepts. Not only that, but after the many attempts that come from losing this circuit again and again, you can find new and quick ways to take you through these old challengers. Piston Honda is now KO'd instantly if you can counter the Honda Rush. The Bull Charge becomes something to eagerly anticipate rather than dread, as taking it by the horns in the final round will always result in a knockout for Bald Bull. Don Flamenco can be exceptionally annoying, often taking the match all the way to decision, but he has another infinite you can learn. Just make your pattern left-left-right instead of alternating, and he won't ever be able to put his perfect guard up again. While losing to these guys again can be demoralizing.
I feel like learning specifically that definitely has to do with just testing things out. Like, I'm presuming you do a left-right and then he kind of breaks out of it, but if you did a left-left-right, he doesn't, so...
With time, they become fun warm-ups for when you're working towards your new opponents. Opponents like...
That is a very big man.
Riding off the end of the Cold War, it's Soda Popinski, or Vodka Drunkinski if you prefer. With his unbalanced, top-heavy physique, uppercuts so fast they only consist of key poses, and his mocking laughs at every knockdown, Popinski revels in being an unknown Soviet enigma. Sure, he's better than you, physically speaking. Everyone in the WVBA
everybody is better than us.
Band-Aids is. But his true ace in the hole is how different he is to your puny American stylings and expectations. Popinski is the only boxer that fights in a southpaw style, learning from the last American to face the motherland by leading with his left hand. Southpaw...
Interesting. Was that a direct reference to one of the Rocky movies then? because I've only ever seen the first one, although I do know that there are a ton more after that as well. While I have learned a few martial arts before, I've never actually been in a real match like that. But from what I recall, when you're fighting against an opponent who is using a completely different stance from, well, what you would normally expect, things can get a little bit mixed up for sure. The way you have to approach them is completely different, and I guess in a way, if we're gonna speak in like fighting game terms, it's like when you're new to fighting games, and then all of a sudden you go past your opponent and then you end up swapping sides, which then makes it so that all of your moves are on the opposite side now. When you're new to the game, you're going to be so confused by that. You don't know what is going to happen when you press the button anymore, because it just hasn't really clicked in your brain yet.
Fighters typically have an advantage at inboxing. Since most boxers are right-handed, they're used to countering a right-hand style, leaving fighting lefties to be uncomfortable. Popinski reflects this brilliantly, with animations so awkward and unconventional that they hardly feel fair at first, including jabs with no startup warning. It's hard to get any
Zero
stars
startup
off
jabs
of him,
goes
and he'll
hard,
usually
man.
dodge your star punch even if you manage to get one off. There seems to be no tricks to overcoming him. He is the invincible colossus to end your career, no? Yeah, no. This guy needs to go. Fortunately, Pops has got a weakness, albeit one that his original name would tip you off better for. He's had a little too many bits of the bubbly, and doesn't have the brain power necessary to strategize beyond the most basic of boxing matches. When he winds up for an uppercut, Mac can feint to block, causing Soda to kinda just stay bewildered for an extra moment, wondering what little American boy is doing. He'll of course see no issue with crushing your skull like Sparrow's egg between thighs with just a moment more. But if you punch him in the gut during his moment of confusion, he'll be so stunned that he'll forfeit one of his precious few stars. And if he's ever stunned again, unleash that star and boom! Popinski will go down instantly to any star uppercut you manage to land on him.
Jesus Christ, man. How was I supposed to know that I could confuse him by blocking a move that I shouldn't be blocking? In hindsight, that's really cool, but if I was playing this game blind, I don't know if I'd ever figured that out. But then again, this goes back to whenever like Serby and I check out some of the older fighting games and whatnot, we like to talk about how back then there was word of mouth and friends just sharing secrets of how to get to certain secret bosses that other people might not know of and stuff like that. And this is probably one of those things where if you had the knowledge of it, you were like the coolest kid at the arcade.
Surprisingly, stability isn't one of Vodka's strong suits. Who could have guessed? Popinski's a tricky one to understand, but once you get past his bluster and initial onslaught, he's not that different after all.
It's always smoke and mirrors with these guys.
Welcome to hell.
Let me level with you. Up until now, we've been talking about finding the weakness, hitting at the opportune time, wait for the tell, dodge his punch, and
But this guy fights fair? If so, then this is actually a similar formula to the previous game. Well, the next game within the series, but the last game that we checked out, which was Super Punch-Out. But the last two fights were fair. They just hit really hard and they were super tough because they were just that good at boxing.
Fortunately, this no longer applies. As the champ of the original Punch-Out, Sandman will absolutely wreck you a majority of the time, no matter how prepared you think you are. Oh, sure, you can learn his pattern and tricks like any boss in any video game ever, but there's very little advice I can give you other than to get good and try again. His guard is fierce, and even if you manage to break through, he'll automatically block any shots to his face, even while stunned. Something the players relied on all game to rack up the damage other than in Hippo's gimmick fight.
But he's just that good.
But Sandman can dodge the almighty star uppercut, even while stunned, completely neutralizing the punch that pulverized Popinski. He starts the first round with 13 rolling jabs in a row, which give players very little in return even if you manage to counterpunch them. There are certainly ways to improve your odds. After his hook, for example, you can stun him and then punch his gut for a bit, but nothing is just gonna win you this fight but blood, sweat, and tears. But that's a whole lot of work. I mean,
Wait a minute. Doesn't that mean that if you lose a fight before you even get to the final boss, you're gonna have to come back to fight this guy again? Ooh boy, that can be quite frustrating, I'm sure. There ain't any gimmick that you can learn to get past him super quickly. You just gotta get good for reals. Sort of the epitome of every Souls-like boss. You just gotta get good.
you look tired. Why don't you take a rest? The
Enter.
Dreamland Express.
Sandman's
most brutal technique. Piston Honda did a little dance before it started. Could be easily blocked, even countered outright. Bald Bull, he has a huge windup and he only requires one
Super
punch
weak.
to beat.
Yeah.
But this comes out of nowhere. Sandman just standing there, menacingly, waiting for a random amount of time before giving you a 10-second slumber.
A random?
Oh, but he gives a tell,
Bro.
right? Sure. Here, I'll show you how long it lasts. Missed
What?
it? Well, here it is again. This supposed tell, this mere flash, lasts a whopping 2 frames.
What the fuck? And NES games run at 60. Are you kidding me? 2 frames? I don't think that's even within the reactable amount of frames a human being can actually react to. It's just, that's insane. There has to be some sort of other tell, maybe in the background, like some of the other bosses. Because, I mean, you get hit by this, it's just KO, right? Are you kidding me?
At the NES's 60 frames per second, you have a mere 1/30th of a second to react to
Brother.
3 death sentences of uppercuts in a row. It's so fast that I honestly can't recommend fighting him on a modern LCD monitor. The reduced lag on the classic CRT display is practically a requirement to dodge this bad boy on reaction. Inevitability is the greatest fear Sandman provides, and staring him down, you know the end is coming. It's just a matter of when. Yes, if by a miracle or endless repetition you manage to dodge all of them, you can get in a few more hits than usual. But this is far from the free down it would be on lesser foes.
Yeah.
Sandman is a war of attrition. But Mac has never given up, and neither should you. Endure, and only one more fight is in between you and your greatest prize.
Okay, man, but I don't know about this fight. I feel like this fight is just straight up bullshit, not gonna lie. This one requires you to just keep doing it. Do it over and over and over until you happen to guess right, or somehow you get the reflexes to react to that, which I don't think is possible, but I could also be wrong. This fight might honestly be the point where a lot of people who had played this game sort of put it down afterwards, after giving it a good shot, you know? That isn't even the final boss. Jeez.
Showtime!
Players might not know what to expect from the champion of the world circuit, but those immaculate pecs likely weren't high on their list. Super Macho Man may be far more of a clown than Sandman, but he certainly knows how to put on a show. After being
My
battered,
God.
bruised,
The
and
jiggly
beaten,
booties.
the image of such pectoral perfection will be burned into a
These
player's
are not the jiggle
eyes
physics I
and
was looking for.
soul, and will repeat every single time they're launched down to the mat. And it's not like Macho doesn't have the skills to boot. Fast attack, strong defense, low stun time, the World Circuit special. However, he's not especially harder than Mr. Sandman.
Bogus.
While his macho spin punch can repeat with up to 8
we saw that in
reps
Super
and will
Punch
knock
Out.
you down instantly, it's got a far slower windup than the Dreamland Express. And this showboat is far more likely to get smacked with a star uppercut than the ever-serious Sandman. Really, the toughest thing about Super Macho Man are the nerves the player brings into the ring with them. If you lose, you might have to fight Sandman again, or even retire if you've already dropped 2 matches, needing to go through the World Circuit Gauntlet again in order to even match gloves with Macho Man a second time.
Stay down!
The champ's a competent
How did
boxer,
Macho Man
but
beat
in
Sandman?
practice, he's just a more well-rounded Popinski with a more orthodox stance. After coming so far, just inches away from being champion of the world, what makes the final boxer intimidating isn't what's to come, but what's behind you.
Why don't you love me? Oh!
Overcome your nerves, smack this $1 million moron down, and congratulations.
We did it!
You are the
That's the entire
greatest
game.
video game
There's nothing more.
boxer in the entire world.
World Circuit's all yours, Mac.
In Punch-Out, first you learn the fundamentals of boxing. The major circuit teaches theory, strategy, and application. The World Circuit, then, is all about execution, teaching you not only to understand
The final exam,
sport
basically.
mentally, but intrinsically as well, letting your thumbs do the talking for you. Punch-Out becomes as much about instinct as it is about mastery, and it's safe to say that now you are a master.
Oh yeah, 100% instinct. In order to dodge Sandman there, you gotta use your Ultra Instinct.
But you're not the only one who's reached this profound level of understanding. Join us for the finale as you
Mike
face
Tyson.
off in the battle of the century, the ultimate challenge, the toughest fight of your life. Dreams come true.
I'm
as
looking
you
forward to
share
see
the
exactly
ring in
how
one
difficult this
final
is.
match against Mike Tyson.
It's even funnier because Mike couldn't even get past the last show, I'm pretty sure. So he never experienced this fight. Did he even get to see it in action? Hopefully he did. But yeah, dudes, I'm super curious. If you played this game back in the day, like, how did you deal with Sandman? Like, did you feel that it was okay, that it is actually reactable? Maybe I'm just overreacting to it. Maybe I'm just not built well enough to be able to do that. I'm pretty sure I would fail. But 2 frames, man? Jeez Louise. But yeah, that's it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.